big geek. I also run a nonprofit called the Performing Arts Conservatory of Atlanta. Sorry, we go by PACA. And we give scholarships so students who cannot afford voice lessons can take them. And if anyone is interested in getting involved in that, please come talk to me later. And I would like to know who you guys are. Raise your hand if you're a singer. Raise your hand if you also teach. Okay. So I've given this talk before to younger students, and my husband came to it. He said it was simultaneously for like a 3-year-old and a PhD student. So I'm going to do my best to keep it that way because that sounds like me. I'm going to talk a little bit about how I use these things for myself and how they're used, but also kind of pitfalls that people can fall into, and how to get out of them. So, that hurt. An SOVT is a semi-occluded vocal tract exercise, which means that we are partially closing the vocal tract. This basically mitigates some of the subglottic pressure that we get when we sing, and puts equal pressure on either side of the vocal folds, which makes them vibrate more efficiently. And one of the main things that it does that I love is it helps to deal with registration issues, especially in younger singers that tend to kind of push one way or another. So the SOVTs are a little buzzy ooh, as well as a puffed cheek ooh, which you can use to sing all of your vowels and even songs like things like that. A hum with your tongue through your lips, which I'm going to suggest everyone do right now. It's one of my favorites. And then we have even variations on the straws. So you guys have medium-sized straw, tiny straws. We can do straws in water. You can have multiple straws, which is why we have 2 of these in case one of them is too much pressure. In fact, just kind of play around for a minute. Grab a tiny straw and just see if you can phonate. It's incredibly difficult. If you put a second one in there, it's going to be a lot easier. If you guys are familiar with Ian Howell, he's a vocalogist, and he put on the internet that his goal for the summer last summer was to master the single straw. So I tried to follow suit. My voice does not like it. Some people's voices really like it. What do you guys feel when you do the single straw?
Pressure.
A lot of back pressure, yeah.
Head voice is hard.
Head voice can't even.
It's easier that way.
So, let's see. And then after the straws on this little list, it says the muffler. But I don't like to call it the muffler, you guys. I call this the kidnapper, and it looks like this. Sorry if that's triggering to anyone. SOVTs are good, A, because they balance the subglottic pressure, like we already said. They also can help you form good shapes in your mouth in the pharyngeal space. You'll notice if you do maybe like a that you'll feel like a pillow of air, one in the roof of your mouth, and then one maybe behind your tongue. Do you guys want to do it? So you're kind of blowing open these shapes. The other thing that they do is you can't really hear yourself, or you don't sound right anyway, so you get to kind of habituate without that like internal judge saying that's not good enough, or even trying to manipulate and sound how you want to sound in your own head, which we all know is wrong anyway. And some of them can help encourage flow phonation, which will just keep the breath moving. In my studio, I like to use them diagnostically as well. We can use them to find tension, especially in new singers. Sometimes I'll have someone, instead of going, they'll go, and immediately I know where they're gripping and what to do. What I have also found, and Eva, let me know if this is true, this is purely anecdotal. If I have a student who on a larger straw can't access head voice, it'll kind of cut out, it'll go, typically that tells me that they're either incredibly swollen or that they have nodes or polyps or something. I've never had a student who cut out on the top that wasn't in big trouble. So if that happens in my studio, I immediately send them to the auntie. Do you have any idea if this is anecdotal?
How large of a large diameter straw?
Like this?
This one?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, not these. Not these tiny ones. I don't use these very
Now we all
often.
feel like self-testing.
I know.
I don't even know.
I'm like, I have pathology.
We're all like,
Yes.
Good.
And here's a fancy dancy picture of what happens when you have this back pressure and vocal folds and stuff and things like that. I am not here today to talk about why these work. However, you will find on that second piece of paper that you got that's not the big packet, Ingo Tizzi talking about the whys. All right, straw. Get your pretty straws. And let's just start off by making kind of some whale noises. So we're just gonna siren like, and notice what you feel. Does anyone feel kind of like a jerk at your registration points? Do you guys want to take a minute and stop at those registration points and just sort of see what happens? So,
live in the break.
yeah. So I'm gonna just go to the piano, and I'm gonna start off maybe here and just singing your octave. We're gonna do do mi do slides. You may find a place on your voice that it kind of warbles and feels like you can't control it. That's good. If you do the same thing in the room with that amount of release, there will be no warbling. It'll just be as it should be. And raise your hand if you feel anything funny. And women, you should be feeling something here. There it we could keep going, but for time, I'm not gonna. If you have a student that tends to want to bring a lot of weight up, then we would go down backwards. So maybe like on a 5-3-1, something along those lines. Let's just do that for a minute. Most classically trained singers won't have the issue of bringing up too much weight, but a lot of belters will. In fact, I had a student who had the lead in her school musical. She was a freshman in high school. And I'd been she was a natural belter, and I'd been taught belting before I got her. And just so much weight. I didn't get to see her for like a month and a half, but she got it. And I'm gonna use, since I have a giant bottle, so I'm gonna use my metal straw. this can be helpful for getting students to sort of understand what's happening here as far as pressure goes, and just to get air moving. It can, like I've had students that just, there's nothing happening and it's like, dude, where's your bubbles? But also if you're sick or if you're losing your voice or if you've used your voice too much, this feels so good. It just feels like a massage. So again, just kind of with the whale noises, just sort of. I don't know.
The same kind of things I do when I gargle when I'm sick. Nobody else gargles.
Yes, I absolutely do.
I always want to, but I can't take the salt water, like, so.
Yeah.
Now just go, woo, and see how much easier it feels. Woo! And again, anecdotally, I was doing a recital like a year and a half ago, and you guys, I had thrush. Does everyone know what thrush is, by the way? Yeah. So I was cool, but my last 3 songs were musical theater, and when I lose my voice, I lose my low. And eventually just brought a stupid water bottle onto the stage and was like, sorry, y'all. And they liked it a lot, and actually got through it. Without this, there's no way in the world that I would have been able to get through that. So, just a little story. Okay, other favorites. How am I on time? Bad? No? Good, okay.
This is interesting.
Okay. All right. So let's play with this tongue through the lips again for a minute. So many singers, their bodies tend to think that their tongue and their larynx are connected. So if they stick their tongue out, the larynx will go up. And if they're trying to sing and sound richer to themselves, their tongue will go back in their throat, which then pushes down the larynx. And you guys can feel this if you just find your larynx and push your tongue back a little bit. And some people I've even encountered cannot get their vocal folds to approximate without their tongue being back. So I love a little 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 staccato. And it just allows the vocal folds to come together briefly with the tongue out of the way. Also, I remember reading an article in Classical Singer by Ken Bozeman, and he was talking about how E is the most open vowel, and that is because the pharynx is our primary resonator, not the mouth. And with E, you have the tongue up and out of the way. So on some level too, with these, not only are we habituating the vocal folds to be able to function without tongue pressure, but also we're feeling a different kind of resonance that can happen when the tongue is completely out of the way. So here, we'll just play. And here, just is typical. If you ask for a sad puppy noise, and I do this with adults, like this is very sad, typically it will get the musculature out of the way. If that doesn't work, I will ask for breathiness, leading into like real sound, and that will typically help too. Okay, NG, just say hung. Good. And with the NG, you're gonna want what I tend to call like a tricycle tongue, which means that it has 3 touching points. You look at me like I'm so weird, I know. So you want the tip of the tongue to be just resting gently behind the teeth. And then we want a wide back of the tongue, so we want it to be gently resting against your top molars. So you're gonna feel this wide, relaxed tongue root in the back. And then again, you can sound puppy it. And I love sliding, especially on these things that kind of release muscles. So I would probably do this on like a 5-3-1 slide, which would be. You guys want to do a couple of these? And that is good and right as long as you're not getting tense through here. Do you want to keep playing or do something else? I'm going to keep going up to it. Okay. If I see a lot of tongue tension, which I don't in this room, I might even ask for an extreme NG, which would look like this. So the bottom is here, and the top is here. But I wouldn't stay there long because this can start pulling up, but just for a minute so that someone can actually feel what it feels like to phonate with like no tongue in the house. All right. I didn't use it, but I wanted to show you guys too. This is my technical picture that I tend to show people a lot when talking about like parts of the body, including soft palate, hard palate, uvula, pillars of fosses, which you want like wide, and pharyngeal space. I didn't end up needing to use it, but here we go. All right, get out your balls. Was there enough for everyone to have one of these? Again, this is another Ian Howell trick. So basically, we're just gonna phonate.
Already going.
So just a little toy for airflow. All right, so we have all these SOVTs. The last thing that I would say is how to use them in relation to your own practice and your own singing. You can sing your music on an NG. You can sing your music through your straw. You can also open up into things in your exercises like things like that and just use it on exercise. And actually for this kidnapper, and just sort of let it rip. And I find that this tends to help people like me who I tend to listen too much to my own stupid self and I know too much. And so I'm adjusting constantly to try to make it sound like I want it to sound. And this for me makes my brain shut up because I cannot hear what's going to come out until it does. Does anyone want to try it?
Yeah.
Yes.
I have a question. Is that like the same as with that kind of like using the back of your hand?
I've never used the back of my hand, but yeah, probably. Yeah, as long as it's creating back pressure.
Okay. I figured it like that.
Yeah. And we'll do the same thing. If you don't have a straw, I forgot to mention too, you can sort of make one with your lips by doing a v and a tiny oo at the same time. You can also take a paper cup and poke a hole through the end, and that will give you some of the back pressure, but you can also articulate. Also, if you have access to anesthesia masks, which I don't, you can also use an anesthesia mask. And yeah. Next time, anesthesia masks. Do you guys have questions? Yeah.
Actually, before Eva has had to listen to me go on about this for weeks now, I have been, because of a temporary dental appliance, I have been struggling with some really awful sublingual tension.
Boy.
At the root of my tongue and like just under my tongue. And I'm just wondering if you have any of these in particular that are.
What does it feel like when you do this?
It's actually kind of nice because it feels a little like it's stretching.
Mm-hmm.
But, well, I don't think we sang too much like with. When I was doing the, it felt good, but then I could feel the tension like, oh wait, no, we're gonna creep back up in there.
Okay.
So I don't know about that one.
Well, I'm sitting here going like, is anyone here an expert like in like laryngeal massage?
I've done some.
Some.
I would not call myself a myofascial release specialist, but I do certain laryngeal massage.
Right. How did you feel doing the straws?
Pretty good.
Good.
Yeah.
And again, I feel like straws and water are just the most
Yeah.
massagey.
Yeah.
Like they just, like you might as well just be like in the spa.
Right.
So I've never encountered that before.
Oh,
Can I
yay.
think about it?
Yeah, I've been having TMJ treatments for
Okay.
decades now, and but like I said, I've got a temporary dental appliance for something unrelated, and I'm just constantly tonguing it.
Right.
You know,
How
like when you-
long does it have to be there?
January.
Okay. Boy,
Yeah.
that's
Lori,
long
we have a
temporary.
request for you to see Francis as soon as we're finished
Oh,
today.
I'm not, I have some options.
Okay.
Yay.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Nope.
Yes.
Thought I'd mention, I just learned this a few weeks ago, that another reason that the straw thing is helpful is because it decreases the distance that the milk folds travel when you're phonating, so it's less abusive.
Yay.
I didn't know that till.
Does it say something like that on these little forms? I can't remember what it said. I even retyped it today. And I'm not a scientist, so just kind of typing. Okay, thank you guys so much.
Yay!